Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And today the Cheetahs will welcome the Western Province as the Carling Black Label Currie Cup returns in South Africa. Lions versus Griquas will kick the action off later today before the action will close with the Western Province taking on the Cheetahs in Bloemfontein. Unfortunately, due to the unrest and safety concerns in Natal, there will be no Bulls versus Sharks clash tonight, but we will be live for both the Cheetahs versus the Western Province, as well as the Lions versus Griquas clash. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash like on the video. Also turn the notifications on so you get notifications whenever we are live. We are live pretty much every day in the week, really, where we can. And lots of watch-alongs, lots of coverage for this weekend's test as well. The Lions squad is being announced today, so should be quite interesting to see what Warren Gatland has up his sleeve. But in terms of this clash, I mean, for the Cheetahs, they've had quite a sort of stop-start issues, we know, that so far with the Currie Cup campaign. You know, they got their campaign off to a winning start against the Cheetahs, but they've had to, cancel games against the Bulls. Getting their a victory over the Pumas was the big one. When they really got sort of when they got going, because it's just been a very COVID. It's been a COVID affected tournament for the Cheetahs, if I'm being very honest. They've had so many different cases and issues. Lots of injuries, so they're missing pretty much the bulk of their players. So they really haven't had a great sort of start to the Currie Cup. Equally, the Western Province are currently coming off a loss against the Griquas, which is the last thing that they would have wanted. So, I mean, if we look at the Cheetahs results at the moment, so they obviously got beaten by the Griquas. Sorry, I meant they got beaten by the Griquas earlier. Beaten 31 points to 10, and then they beat the Pumas 17-16 just by 1 point. But their game against the Bulls was cancelled as a result of COVID. And even last time they played, their game was cancelled. They were sort of very sort of struck in terms of COVID-19, meaning a lot of players were unavailable. And their game against the Lions this weekend was cancelled because they refused to travel. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with their points in terms of what happens there. But in terms of the game today, this is the side they have put up. Ruan Pienaar will, of course, captain the side at number 9. If we're going through 1 through to sort of 15, title will be Alulu to Sekweni, Marnus van der Merwe, and Henkes van Wyk. It's a pretty solid front row. It's the same front row that took on the Pumas. Renier Bernardo and Jean Drosti will be the two locks. Jean-Ray Rudolph continues to play at 6, but Junior Pokamela will start in the number 7 jumper. Aiden Davids at number 8. Really need to try and get back Andisa and Nsila back into the side, but it is starting to look much better. I reckon, Nsila, Rudolph, Pokamela, probably the starting loose trio once they're all back. In terms of the backline, Ruan Pienaar, Cartners, Brandon Thompson, Cohen Jasper, and Duncan Sol are the two wings. Sia Masuku and David Brits will be a centre combination. Clayton Blomikis will be devastating on the counter attack, as he always is, at fullback. The reserves for tomorrow are Louis van der Vestes and Cameron Dawson, Conrad van Vuren, Victor Sekekete, Jacques Porkita will come off the bench tomorrow, so that's a really nice sort of player to be able to bring on. Lots of experience there, brings a lot of physicality, does he? And then you've got Zinedine Boyson, Rainer Fortain, and Chris Smith who will cover the rest of the backline. It's not a bad side from the Cheetahs, but look, in a week's time, hopefully, I don't know when Andisa and Nsila is going to be back, but hopefully you have somebody like Roscoe Speckman back in the mix. And you probably want to put Jacques Porkita back into that starting 15. So eventually they can sort of start working towards a better side. George Cornier, the S120 captain, is also part of the currently contracted with the Cheetahs, but unfortunately has had his injury issues. So it's pretty much the best that they can currently do in some very, very tricky circumstances. For the Cheetahs. For the Western Province, a couple of interesting names, quite a lot of youngsters being named within the side, which includes a start for very exciting hooker Andre Hugo Fenter. Leon Lyons and Neil Bashir will partner him in the scrum in the front row, the same two props that I thought actually did quite well against the Virgin Irish Lions. Ernst van Rijn and Jada Schikkelin will continue the lock partnership there at 4 and 5, and Ernst van Rijn obviously captaining the side. Nama Klaba will continue the number 6 jumper, but Marcel Tennyson comes in place of Johan de Toy in the number 7 jumper. Johan de Toy will take his place on the bench. Evan Roos will continue to play at 8th man. He's been a storming addition to the Western Province, excuse the pun, and a really, really promising player. I think somebody who a lot of people are saying that maybe could be in the sort of the outgoing tour at the end of the year. Garland was similar. Tim Sweel is the halfback combination. Still no Paul de Vet. Edel van der Merwe, Tristan Lates comes back into the side. Cyril Peterson, after a very, very impressive performance against the Virgin Irish Lions, starts at fullback once again. And the big news is Jean de Jong will start at outside centre, with Cornel Smith getting a run at inside centre. No Dan Duplessis or Rick Pretorius this weekend on the bench. And that's where I think a couple of exciting names sort of standing out. The likes of JJ Kotzer getting a rotation, but DM Blulu is a very interesting player. quite young. They lead Marvin Mazabuko. Simon Miller is somebody else who's very young, quite highly rated. Is the lock forward, and it'll be interesting to sort of see the depth that they've got within the setup. Him, Aljo Hugo Venter, and then the fly half. Sasha Mgomazulu is also part of the recent East Under 20 side. So very, very sort of young and inexperienced this Western Province side. But I mean, John Dawson was talking about the fact that they need to sort of rotate and bring players in so they can sort of test their depth. So that's why it's good to see those players there. Johan de Toy, and we saw a little bit of Thomas Bursey, who I think looked quite good in the Western Province and in the Stormers shirt last week anyways, the British Lions. A couple of decent moments, but unfortunately he was part of sort of the subs that kind of got run off their feet. And then Leon Lanzas is back in the number 23 jersey. A lot of experience coming in from him. In terms of how we think the game will go, I mean, you've probably got to back the Western Province just because the Cheetahs are just so sort of understaffed at the moment. I think it's a very solid Western Province scrum. I think Jean de Jong, Edwin van der Merwe, Tim Swills playing some very good rugby as well. Sergio Peterson's in very good form, and I'm very, very keen to sort of see how the youngsters go. You know, your Fenters, your Ngomazulus, your Simon Millers. I think those will probably be the exciting ones to watch. So in my opinion, I'm going to go sort of Western Province by 10. I think they have to bounce back against the Cheetahs after their shock loss against the Greeks. It's been quite an up and down Currie Cup for the Western Province, who started with a bonus point victory against the Bulls sort of B team, but then lost to the Lions, and they beat the Sharks, and they lost to the Greeks. So they've kind of sort of been quite inconsistent. And when they look good, they look pretty good. But when they're bad, they can be pretty bad, is the honest truth. So let me know what you think is going to happen in this game. Smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Steven. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you all soon.